Conspiracy theories are one of my favorite niches on YouTube right now, so we're going to be taking a look at some of the most disturbing video game fan theories. Link is dead. Majora's Mask was such a cool game. It was such a switch up from all the previous Zelda games. Moving towards a darker, grittier feel was super cool, really interesting, and I just love this game so much, man. I could talk about it all day. But this theory says that Link dies at the beginning of the game, and his journey through Termina is him in purgatory, working through the 5 stages of grief. The 5 stages of grief were created by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross to describe people with terminal illness facing their own death. Termina is split into 5 different sections. 1 section for each stage of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Our first stop is Clocktown, where life seems to go on as normal, even with the disastrous moon looming overhead. It's set to crash into them in 3 days, and yet the citizens are in denial. When speaking with them about it, they call it preposterous and label anyone who tries to flee a coward. The citizens serve as our first stage of grief: denial. Our next stop on our adventure leads us to the Woodfall Temple. The Deku King, blinded by his rage, plans to execute a monkey that was wrongfully accused of stealing his daughter, indicating the next stage: anger. The third stage of grief is bargaining, and this is when an individual tries to negotiate with themselves, those around them, or higher powers to postpone or undo the inevitable. This is represented as Darmani, who appears to us as a spirit and tries to bargain with Link to bring him back to life because he hasn't accepted his own death yet. The Great Bay Temple is where we meet Lulu, the Zora princess who mourns the loss of her eggs, and this represents the 4th stage: depression. And our last stop, Ikana Valley, is covered with death, but everyone there knows they're dead and they accept that, which gives us our 5th and final stage of grief: acceptance. Throughout our journey, we see many familiar faces from Ocarina of Time, as if everyone Link interacted with in the past is helping him through this final journey. Now, what do I think about this theory? It's definitely a fun one, and being a massive fan, and I mean absolutely massive fan of the Zelda series, it is pretty cool to think about. And if you look at the dumpster fire that is the Zelda timeline, Twilight Princess doesn't happen until 100 years after Majora's Mask, so, I mean, I guess it's possible, but I don't know, this one just kind of seems a little far-fetched for me. Super Smash Bros. Are toys. Okay, this one isn't disturbing, it's actually pretty wholesome, but I wanted to throw it in here because it's a short, fun one. But basically the theory is that all the battles in Smash are just a kid playing with their toys. And watching the intro for Smash on the N64, it's pretty clear that this is the case. And this theory was actually confirmed to be true by Nintendo. So I guess it's not really a theory anymore and more of a fun fact. I don't know. Either way, I thought it was so wholesome. Like, we all remember being a kid and doing this exact same thing with our toys. I miss being a kid, man. It was so much fun. Animal Crossing cult. Everybody loves Animal Crossing. And I mean, it makes sense. Like, look how freaking cute these guys are. But what if I told you our cute little villager friends were hiding a dark secret? In order to understand how you could have been abducted into an anthropomorphic cult, we'll first take a look at the tactics cults use to indoctrinate everyday people. Their first step is to persuade the recruit to join their group. And they usually disguise themselves as something innocent, like a self-help group or relationship therapy, and a lot of times it's a church. The next step is called love bombing, and that's when the cult showers the prospective member in love and affection, and they disguise themselves as friendly, happy people. After that comes the tough love from the cult. They'll start reducing your autonomy and increasing your dependency on the group. They'll give you exhausting tasks and deprive you of sleep, but they will reward you for being loyal to the group and basically just buying into what they're selling. And then finally, they'll remove your access to your family and your loved ones, and then you'll be fully indoctrinated without even realizing it. So how does this all fit into Animal Crossing? Well, have you ever noticed every iteration of the game has you isolated from the outside world? They either put you on an island or within the confines of a giant wall. When you arrive in your village, you're given a house, but you're also given a debt along with that. And every time you pay it off, it grows time after time. And that eternal debt is there for one reason and one reason only, and that's to keep you there, working for the cult. Now let's talk about how you got to the island. You're taken there by Cap'n, and at first glance, he's just a cute little turtle guy. I mean, look at him. Look how cute he is. But he's hiding a dark secret. This right here is a kappa. It's a Japanese monster that lives in lakes and rivers, It's known to drown unsuspecting swimmers and kidnap women and children. So Cap'n kidnapping you to serve the cult really doesn't seem too far-fetched. You do get letters from your family, but there's no way these are real. The cult would undoubtedly censor the mail coming in and replace any problematic letters with generic messages to give you that illusion of freedom. But why are you the only human here? I mean, if there was a cult, you'd think there'd be more people here, right? Well, maybe there was. After a rainy day, you can often find gyroids, which share an uncanny resemblance with the Hanawa sculptures of Japan. And the Japanese use these sculptures for funerals. So after it rains, the loosened soil brings these Hanawa to the surface and brings the past victims of the cult to light. The Banana Wars theory. The Banana Wars theory claims Donkey Kong Country is less of a family platformer and more of an anti-American propaganda piece on the Banana Wars. After the Spanish-American War, the U.S. gained a foothold in the Caribbean via Cuba and Puerto Rico. The U.S. used this foothold to police several states in the Caribbean like Haiti, Honduras, and Nicaragua, often intervening under the guise of the United Fruit Company, who overthrew local businesses to gain domination over the banana trade. Donkey Kong Country is supposed to symbolize those Caribbean states, with their bananas being stolen by an invading force. King K. Rool, the invading crocodile king, doesn't have any use for these bananas. I don't know what crocodiles really eat, but I can tell you right now, it is absolutely not bananas. So why is he stealing all this fruit? Maybe for some kind of economical gain or political strategy. I don't know. The president at the time was Teddy Roosevelt, a staunch imperialist, and was known by some as the King of America and was often depicted in paintings wearing a crown. You know who else wears a crown? A certain crocodile I know. You eventually end up fighting the king on a pirate ship, which is kind of odd considering, he's a king and not a pirate. But the U.S. often enforced their will and showed off their military might with their impressive fleets. So, are you actually fighting King K. Rool on a pirate ship? Or are you fighting Teddy Roosevelt aboard a Navy frigate? I don't know. You tell me. That's all I got for you guys today. But let me know if you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll do a part 2. Like I said, I absolutely love this kind of stuff. So, even if you didn't like it, well, that's too bad because I'm going to do another one anyways. If you're interested in seeing more stuff like this in the future, feel free to hit that subscribe button. You'll be my favorite person in the world. But yeah, that's all I got. Take care.